Good morning. It's Dr. Hodges. It is a nice fall morning. I have my Halloween decorations, and if you look, we even have a black cat right there. So there you go. I just got back from a walk, and instead of doing my little video while I was walking, I decided to just sit on my porch and do it this way. And it'll be really quick. I know I've done several videos on kind of upset stomach and things like that, but I wanted to make another video just to pinpoint, because this can actually happen to anyone, whether you've had weight loss surgery or not. Is a common complaint I get is, I have these bubbles in my stomach. I don't know, sometimes after I eat, I just get this kind of gross feeling. I feel bloated. I get these bubbles. Like, what does that mean? And there's a lot of different reasons why that could happen, but there are two that I kind of want to pinpoint about today. And it specifically has to do with your diet and actually with your gut biome. And so to start with, our bodies have a really unique symbiotic relationship. That means close ties, where they help each other out with the bacteria in your gut. And so we have studies that show that there are some bacteria that are in our gut that are really, really good at extracting energy from the food that we eat, because we're not able to digest it, but the bacteria in our gut are, and they release energy. And they've found that there are some strains of bacteria that patients might have when they have a little bit higher BMI. They actually are found to have a much, much higher number of those types of bacterial colonies that that can actually are like super producers of energy, which can contribute to weight gain. Now, I say that because there are some folks that, for whatever reason, the particular bacteria that are in their gut, whenever they are eating specific foods, those bacteria just go to town. They make a lot of extra gas because they're just going to town, and it's almost like you're full of bacteria tubes, and that's what can give people this bloating feeling. So what are some things? I was talking with Laura, my office manager, and she had this huge epiphany, and I had a very similar one, and it was with some of the drink flavoring that she uses in her water. It has, I believe it has sucralose in it, and she said, you know what? Anytime I use this one particular flavoring in my water, and that's all she drinks now. And she keeps like a gazillion of these little flavoring things with her, in her purse, in her office, in her drawer, wherever, in a multitude of different flavors. She said, you know what? I don't know what it was, but I had run out and I did not use my water flavoring. And for the first time in a long time, my belly felt better. And then I made a drink and I hadn't eaten anything. And like within an hour or so, I started to get kind of like that kind of gross bubbly feeling. And I told her, and she was like, oh my gosh, it is my drink flavoring. And I told her, yes. I said, I know that I've made videos on the FODMAP diet, so I won't bore you with those again. But I said, yes, you know what? One of the things that can that are part of the FODMAP diet, so the P, which are polyols, there are certain types of sugars or sweeteners that for some folks your body just can't handle. For instance, for me, I can't handle Splenda. Tons of people really like Splenda. They do great with Splenda. They have no issue with Splenda. There's nothing wrong with Splenda. For me and for my little belly, anytime I eat something or drink something that is sweetened with that, I just get this awful bloating feeling. And she said, you know what? I'm going to have to really do a much better job of reading my labels, because she's had a gastric bypass, so she really can't have a lot of extra carbohydrate, or she'll get dumping syndrome. But I haven't had weight loss surgery, and yet I'm still sensitive to those sweeteners. So that's what I mean by, you don't necessarily have to have had weight loss surgery to experience some of these symptoms. So, you know, if you are someone, regardless of whether or not you're a bariatric patient, and you're like, I get these bubbles, I get bubble gut, I get these bubbles, what does that mean? It really could be the artificial sweetener that you're using. And the artificial sweetener, it could be in something that you're putting in your drink. It could be something that you're using to cook with. It could be in a pre-made batter. It could even be in a sauce. So you have to be mindful of that. You know, some people would do fine with a chicken wing because they put it in the air fryer, but then they use like a sugar-free barbecue sauce on it, and then they feel bad. And it's not because they've eaten something greasy, it's because the artificial sweetener that's in their sugar-free barbecue sauce that's giving them the issue. So I think that that's number one. So look at your labels, because you may find that some of these artificial sweeteners are really kind of doing the job on you. And you may find that maybe if you just used a little bit of real sugar, you wouldn't have that issue. I do not mean have a tablespoon or two of real sugar. That is not what I mean. I'm saying that you may find that the sweeteners that you're using could be the culprit, and there are a wide variety of different sweeteners that are in the market that you can try that maybe might not have that effect on your gut. I think the second thing that can cause some of that bubbling in your gut is actually the fat content. I think it's really important that you're looking at the amount of grease that is in your diet. I mean, clearly there are like the cardiovascular effects on your blood vessels if you have too much fat, too much cholesterol in your diet. But not only that, sometimes if you have a little bit too much grease, it can give you heartburn, and you can also get kind of that bubbly feeling. So you can get that with, if you're eating certain nuts, you can get that. Oops, sorry about that. I was moving my arm around, and I shut off the video. So anyway, so if you're eating certain things that are greasy, it could be certain nuts. It could be if something is fried. It even could be just the different oils that you're using. So watch out for different salad dressings. And you may find that it is not everything, but it could be just this one food item. So the real moral of this whole story is I want you to really work on being mindful about the food that you eat. I just don't want you to sit down and inhale it. And that's whether you've had surgery or not. I really want you to take the time to sit down, enjoy the food that you're eating, be mindful of your portion size, and then see what you feel like after you eat that. Do you feel this bubbly feeling in your gut? Do you feel like this kind of heaviness? I know for me, if I have too much grease, I get a really, really heavy feeling, and I will get diarrhea. I had this one time, Collins and I, we went on a family vacation to Florida, my favorite place in the world. And I was picking on him, and I said, Collins, you are not going to have oatmeal. We're on vacation. You are going to enjoy yourself. And of course, he's had surgery, so he's like, no, I'm going to do my thing. You do you. I'm like, okay. So we go out to breakfast. It's the very first day. I'm having like this beautiful brunch. I got fried eggs and these potatoes rendered in duck fat and like this thick slab pork belly bacon. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I was like barely halfway through, and I was miserable. And I was miserable the rest of the day. I had heartburn. I had this heaviness, this bloating, and that is not good when you are at the beach. It is just not good. So, you know what I had the next day? I had what he had. I had oatmeal. So, wah, wah. So I think that just goes to show that clearly he was much more in tune with his body and wanted to listen to his body. I, however, did not, and it was a tough lesson to learn. I also know, like, if I have too much grease, for instance, like, I love peanut butter. I cannot eat peanut butter more than 2 days in a row, or the oils, like, I get a really bad heartburn. And so I have to be aware of that. That's also, like, if I have a donut, I can't just have donut and a coffee, because I can get terrible heartburn from that, too. I usually have to do a donut in milk or something like that, because it's something with the acidity and that caffeine in the milk, and then the fried grease in the donut and the sugar. That's just a bad combination. So with all that being said, if you are feeling those bubbles in your gut, if you're feeling like this heaviness, this bloating, it really could be secondary to the carbohydrate or the fat that you are intaking, number one. And then number two, it could be, when you're talking about carbohydrate, it could be the artificial sweetener that you're using. So listen to your body. I will tell you, if you have eaten something and you're feeling this heaviness, it's usually from the snack or the meal that you just had, like the last couple of hours ago. It's not going to really be typically from a meal that you had 3 days ago. It's going to be from something that you just had, because these things happen quick. So think about it, be mindful, and you'll be happy that you were. Okay, hope that this helped.